When did you launch Gett?
It was 2010.
2010.
Yep.
Was one of the first ones then, right?
True. I mean, at the same time, there were a few companies developing this business model across the globe.
And how did you get the idea?
I think it's we all started from the same place, that technology been available and you want to make the life much easier.
But did you miss an appointment because there was no taxi? I mean, you remember Yuri Levine from Waiser?
True.
He had a story with picking up his son from school, and then he was on the other side, and then he understood that his father's on the other side. They moved around, and then he had Waiser.
Most of the ideas come from some bad experience you as a founder have, and interestingly, like in my past companies and also in Gett, it all came from, okay, you experience something that works not as effective as you can imagine with technology, and then what inspires you to do things, yeah.
And now, 8 years later, or almost 9 years later, how much money have you raised, or Gett?
So, Gett raised in total 700 million, where 300 million came from Volkswagen Group in one of our last rounds 2 years ago.
Which I think, as a German Jew, is a wonderful thing to have a German company backing an Israeli one. So that's really beautiful.
VW Group is now very active in Israel and supporting.
And how is it working with the Germans as an Israeli?
Again, I'm saying, we had just last week a smart mobility conference in Israel, and you can see that for the first time you see a huge presence from Volkswagen actually being very much up front and participating with other companies. Mobileye, also Israeli company that was acquired by Intel, is a big partner of VW. So I think it's now we see Mobileye, Gett, and VW participating in what's next in the AV technology.
Okay, so since you launched, a lot of things happened in the ride-sharing industry. There's Uber, which went through the ups and downs. We had Dara in Berlin last year, and they changed their strategy and said, we want to partner with cities, and they gave us a great presentation. Lyft is growing, and you have also in emerging markets, mega fundraisings. Where does Gett stand?
Gett today is 100 million rides company. We have about 20,000 large corporations, businesses using Gett for corporate solution. So all in all, we are now at around $1 billion in gross revenues. But it's the only company that is on track to become operationally profitable globally already Q1, which I think we will be hopefully the first company in our industry that actually demonstrate that the business model works and you can also generate growth and success, but equally to build a business.
Yeah. I guess we need to take out the legal fees out of the Uber numbers, and maybe they're doing better then also, right? But your focus is on B2B, which is, I think, super interesting. I was working for Lehman Brothers, and we paid a fortune to all these mini cabs. And how do you win the corporate customer? Is it like the technology, the SaaS, how you integrate it in their systems, or what is your pitch to like?
So with corporates, it's really easy because we build the best technology and operations service behind it that help companies to reduce their cost and become more efficient. And then as in big corporate travel around both locally and globally, you're seeking for the technology that will make it easy and will also reduce the cost. And Gett, remember, actually, we launched the first corporate service in the world. It was in 2011. And our first client was Google, and back then, we just started doing corporate service. And since then, 20,000 corporations, actually global corporations, most of the Fortune 500, our clients, actually using Gett technology and operation to move the employees from A to B, reduce cost, introduce digital, and transform the company to become more digital. So that's what made Gett special, differentiated. It also helped us to propel the profitability that we talk about to
also
achieve
recurring revenues, and the marketing efforts, I guess, are lower, right? You have more like, you have an enterprise sales force going after the corporate.
Right, it is a different business model. So Gett actually is the only company, I would say, as far as we know, in our space that run different business model. We are not purely focused on consumer. We are very strong with the consumer. As I said, about 100 million rides. It's a lot. It's many rides. But at the same time, we have the best technology and the service for corporates. And the combination, what makes it special, because we actually generating profits from both segments, and combined, it makes a solid business.
The numbers got so large. Is it 100 million per year or per month?
Yeah, this is big. This is per year. Yeah, indeed.
And tell me, so in London you had companies like Edison and Lee, which has the corporate side. Are you taking market share from them, or is it like incremental?
As usual in business, the better the value and the service you provide, the better chances you have. So the only laser focus we have from early days is how we build footprint, technology, and operation that will be the best. And speaking about pure B2B players in that space, they don't have that volume and density and liquidity that Gett has. And again, that would make this business model much more successful. We come to corporates, we offer them liquidity and access to supply around the world.
Availability is a key aspect. And what are your biggest market? I mean, you started in Israel, Russia was historically very big. Yep. New York, I think, and London was the most competitive market.
It's very simple. So we are in 4 countries, more than 100 cities. But the best way to look at Gett is, remember last year we acquired Juno, that operate only in US, and we kept that company operating independently. So today Gett is actually 2 assets. The best assets, one is Gett focusing purely on Europe, and the key markets are UK and Russia. They are also the largest ride-hailing markets in Europe in general. And then you have Juno, operating under Juno brand in US, focusing only on US. So those are the key markets, US, UK, Russia. They're also the biggest market if you look by city basis, New York, London,
But in Israel, you're also big. You have like 15% market share.
Indeed, but just for the big global
markets.
Crowd, yes, those are the large markets. They actually also developed to be pretty similar in terms of contribution to the company. And that's the base where we run both operation and technology. And I think we announced that last year and also at NOAH that back then we partner and we started to experiment to offer for our corporate clients also to offer service outside of our territories.
Yeah.
We partnered with Kerry back then, and today we already can offer our corporate clients service outside of our 100 cities, something close to 1,000 cities now. Outside of our territories. How do you do that?
You partner with another provider? Or?
So again, this is the early experiment, but we see our corporate clients, most of them are global. I mentioned more than half of Fortune 500, our corporate clients, and obviously their workforce travel around, and we want to be providing more value, and the same reasons why they choose us in the local markets. We want to offer them more cities like this, and today it's already more than 100 cities outside of our cooperation, and I hope we'll continue to experiment and provide more value and more coverage in this corporate segment.
And your competitive edge to your competitors, you call it a marketplace. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, indeed. We build the very best quality service with the very best drivers for our consumers. We said that in today's world, if we can offer only selected drivers who provide the best quality, it will be the only company where if quality and safety is important to you, then Gett is the only player today in the market that actually offer you the very best drivers. So imagine today when you use Gett in UK, it will be the very best black cab drivers with the best quality service. If you travel to New York, it will be the best Uber and Lyft drivers, and only them available on Juno. So again, for people who follow quality and safety is important, the Gett and Juno are the only brands today that really mindful and focusing on that. And that's what we built across 8 years. So quality is our #1 differentiation. Number 2, we build the best corporate service. And that again, companies choose us for saving cost and making them digital and transform the company. Combination of the two works really well. Again, it doesn't make it better or worse, it's just what's special, you ask about what's special about Gett is the combination of the two things. Quality on the marketplace and the best corporate product on the corporate world that work together fantastically well.
And I guess there's spillover effects. When you drive with a car under your corporate account, you probably also book it when you're with a family somewhere going.
That's smart. Indeed, those 20,000 corporations using and employees using the service, they discover Gett a lot from that. And then
the whole concept, I mean, you changed the name from Gett Taxi to Gett because you wanted to also become a delivery network and don't limit it just to taxis. Did this work out as a strategy?
So what we do best is to take infrastructure and technology and do something that makes it more effective and valuable for people in the marketplace or in the corporates. And we looked at the second big segment might be delivery infrastructure, since people and e-commerce is developing, and you just talked that you want to have a retail session in NOAH, which I think we all will welcome. And when you see when you look in the retail and it grows, the number one need, the number one problem is very efficient and immediate delivery infrastructure.
The last mile. Huh?
Last mile, the same hour, same day. And you don't have many solutions like this of that high quality and cost. So the same disruption that happened in the transportation, we believe happening right now in delivery, but mostly now in delivery for food. Gett is focusing, again, using the same tech, the same infrastructure we build for marketplace and for corporate to provide the delivery infrastructure for anything. So it might be retail, it might be anything else. And yes, our clients, corporate clients, already something between 10 to 20% of all rides we do for corporate today are already using delivery infrastructure and using that for them. All right, so it is.
Because messaging for big corporates is important also.
Everything, right? And you just need effective infrastructure, efficient infrastructure for same hour, same day delivery at low cost.
I think the revenue figure Dara from Uber shared with us in Berlin was close to 100 billion. That's 100 times your size. Okay, they're in many, many, many markets. But what is the growth at Gett? Can you grow in this very competitive markets still?
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, Gett focus on the profitable growth. And I think since we are the company that come from Europe, and by design, you underdog that has less access to capital. So 700 million is a lot of capital, and we're very mindful to that. But compared to now, in our space, it's what, 1 to 6, 1 to 10. And therefore, you need to build a business that is sustainable and profitable on its own. And again, I'm very happy that we're on track, again, Q1 to become first time operationally profitable, and the whole year, it will be the first year when we'll be operationally profitable across all of our markets. And we'll continue to grow in the corporate segment. So, by the way, speaking of growth, out of 20,000 clients we have, half, more than 10,000, sign up just last year.
Oh, really?
So it took us 7 years for the first 10,000, and then just last year 10,000. So that's usually what happens with B2B client. It takes you enormous effort and time and investment in product to build attraction or any interest with the B2B client. So it's never helpful in the beginning, but after 7, 8 years of operation, guess what? Suddenly we see
you have the progressive growth. Does that mean you are one of the first big Israeli tech companies who would go public and don't sell out to the American larger businesses?
Indeed, a lot of companies in Israel sell early. That's what happens. But Mobileye, by the way, sold their business for 16 billion. I wouldn't say it's small. Mobileye for Intel, right? It was.
Well, considering what Klaus Hommels presented yesterday, all the cars are going to be electronic soon, and they need the camera. So maybe it was early proportionally. But what's your road? I mean, you're doing this now, and for the people who don't know your story, I mean, you put your own money into this. You came from Russia. You're like a true entrepreneur. I guess after 8 years, normally people could get tired, but you're ready for taking it for the next 8 years, I guess.
I think we are just get to the point where all of that strategy that we built 8 years ago to be European underdog, but effectively now it become a company with $1 billion gross revenues and profitable and growing with the corporate segment. So for the first time, we see that the base is ready for further growth, and it might be public or private. We hear that
once you're profitable, you have a lot more options.
Exactly, and I think public market is also favorable for companies that you know, they're familiar with the consumer companies, but equally they like the corporate leaders.
The stable side.
And I think once, and we all look forward for Uber and Lyft going public, I think, you know, they will do well, and it now defines much higher multiples than in the past. And obviously, once that is out there, then they can look at a company that growing at a similar pace, but profitable, and a leader in a very specific segment in the corporate. So that will be the option, one of the options, yeah.
Fantastic. Dave, thank you so much for coming to NOAH. Many years.
Thank you.
And good luck fighting the big giants in the world.